Alright, hey guys, what's going on? It's another Monday, and you know what that means? It's a murderous Monday. And today, we are going to be talking about serial killers, and I upload every Monday, hence the name. And the next, and remember that I said that the hint that I gave you guys last week, that the name of the serial killer that I'll be doing next is that he had a trailer and he lured women into the trailer along with his daughter, and he basically and what they did was that he would have them watch like torture videos of what he was going to do to them, and then he did it to them, and then he killed them. And if you still guys don't know who I'm talking about, literally what his trailer was named, which is actually his nickname. So it's actually the Toy Box Killer, David Parker Ray. Who was he? What was his early life like? And why and how did he become so evil? I will answer that and more in this video as I take you down the perspective mind of a serial killer. Alright, now, if you do not want to hear about the topics such as rape, torture, or kidnapping and killing, and I think sacrosadism or something, I don't even know how to say it. I don't even know what that even means, but wait, sadomasochism or something. I would say click off this video. Now, the people who are still here, let's get started because we're in for a long one today. Alright, David Parker Ray, born November 6th, 1939 to May 28th, 2002, also known as the Toy Box Killer, was an American kidnapper, torturer, serial rapist, and suspected serial killer. Although no bodies were found. But still, Ray was accused by his accomplices of killing several women, and was suspected by the police to have murdered as many as 60 women from Arizona and New Mexico while living in Elephant Butte, New Mexico, which is kind of funny. Alright, Ray was convicted of kidnapping and torture in 2001, for which he received a lengthy sentence, but he was never convicted of murder because he died of a heart attack about 1 year after his convictions in 2 cases, and the second of which resulted in a plea deal. And Ray used soundproofing methods on a semi-trailer, which he called his toy box, and equipped it with items used for sexual torture. He would kidnap about 4 to 5 women a year, holding each of them captive for around 2 to 3 months. And during this period, he would sexually abuse his victims and often torture them with surgical instruments, and sometimes involving his friends, wife, and even his dog. Alright, then Ray would drug them with barbiturates in an attempt to erase their memories of what happened before abandoning them by the side of the road. Alright, now his early life. David Parker Ray was born on November 6th, 1939 in Belen, New Mexico, to Father Cecil Leland Ray, August 14th, 1913 to September 23rd, 2009. A mechanic and native of Oregon. Alright, he was a mechanic and native of Oregon. And mother, Nettie Opal Parker, born on November 12th, 1920 to March 19th, 2002, who had been born in Texas. During his childhood, Ray and his younger sister, Peggy Pearl Ray, born March 18th, 1942 to December 13th, 2009, lived with his mother's disciplinarian parents, Russell and Dolly Parker, on a small ranch due to their poor financial condition. Alright, so now that means that his father and his sister were, and I don't know what. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So that means that both of his father and his sister, and even his mother, actually, for a short time, were all alive when David Parker Ray was sentenced to jail. Although his mother would die before he would, in March. And then he would die in May. I just want to let that sink in. Like, he basically died before his sister and before his dad. I wonder what their. No, so I wonder what their I wonder what their. And also, I wonder what their opinion was about his lengthy sentence. Well, but anyway, he was sporadically visited by his violent alcoholic father, who would supply him with magazines depicting depicting sadomasochistic pornography. At Mountaineer High School in Mountaineer, New Mexico, he was bullied by his peers for his shyness around girls, which resulted in his abusing alcohol and other drugs, and Ray's sexual fantasies of raping, torturing, and even murdering women developed during his teenage years. And sorry that I stutter. It's a neurological tic. So, alright, yeah. And so when Ray was 14 years old, his sister saw his sadomasochistic drawings and pornographic pictures of bondage practices. As a result, Ray and his sisters became estranged. Alright, based on statements made by Ray, he is believed to have begun assaulting women as an adolescent. In an advisory message that was tape recorded by Ray on July 23rd, 1993. And remember, this is his words, not mine. This is his words. He claimed, "I've been raping bitches ever since I was old enough to jerk off and tie little girls' hands behind their backs. He even alleged to his first wife that he had committed his first homicide sometime in 1957 when he kidnapped a woman, tied her to a tree, and tortured and murdered her. However, authorities were unable to verify his account. And his wife was okay by that? I don't know, because, I mean, I guess she was, because if she wasn't, she would probably go tell the authorities. After completing high school, After completing high school, Ray received an honorable discharge from the United States Army, where his service included work as a general mechanic. And Ray then worked as a maintenance man for the New Mexico Parks Department in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, for the entirety of his adulthood until his arrest. And the resort town, located approximately 5 miles from Elephant Butte, New Mexico, contains several local bars in which Ray frequently visited for victims. Ray met a 37-year-old named Cindy Hendy, who worked at a state park in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, and who was fleeing convictions on grand theft and drug charges in Washington State. Alright, now they began romantically involved and bonded over their shared violent sexual fantasies. Alright, now again, his words, not mine. In a 1993 recorded message, Ray told his captives, that they would be forced to sexually service Hendy as well. And Ray was divorced 4 times and had 2 children, including his accomplished daughter Glenda, or Jessie Jean Ray. And Glenda had tried to warn the FBI about her father's criminal activity in 1986. Now the FBI agent Doug Belden recalled Jessie Ray's claims. And now she alleged that David Parker Ray was abducting and torturing women and selling them to buyers in Mexico. However, the allegations were so non-specific that the FBI were unable to arrest Ray. Now, criminal history. Ray sexually tortured and presumably killed his victims using whips, chains, pulleys, straps, clamps, leg spreader bars, surgical blades, electric shock machines, and saws. Now this is no magic trick, man. He really sawed them in half. I know it shouldn't be a joke, but I know it should be a joke, but you know I had to throw that one in there. It is thought that he had terrorized many women with these tools for many years. with the help of accomplices, of some whom were alleged to have been several of the women that he was dating. And Ray's torture room was a repurposed, soundproofed cargo trailer located immediately outside his Elephant Butte, New Mexico property, and was called the Toy Box by Ray, along with numerous sex toys, such as torture implants, syringes, and detailed diagrams showing ways of inflicting pain. And there was even a homemade electric generator to electrocute his victims. Now, in total, Ray had believed to have spent $100,000 on the trailer, fitting it with sex toys and torture devices. Alright, now reportedly, again, this is my stuttering. Alright, I'm sorry guys if you can't. Alright, I'm sorry if you guys, if this isn't the best video, because it's probably not. I stutter so much, it's a neurological tick. I also grind my teeth, but I haven't had that done in a couple days. Alright, so reportedly, Ray constructed elaborate contraptions to confine his victims, such as a fur-lined coffin and a makeshift pillory. In addition, there were also elaborate locks and pulleys to prevent his captives from escaping, and a mirror was mounted in the ceiling above the obstetric, I think I say it, above the obstetric or table, to which he strapped his victims. In which he strapped his victims so that they would be able to see themselves being raped and tortured. And he has been said to have wanted his victims to see everything he was doing to them. And Ray also put his victims in wooden contraptions that he bent over and immobilized them, while he had his dogs and sometimes other friends rape them. And Ray often had an audio tape recording of his voice played for his victims whenever they would regain consciousness. In the transcripts of his tapes, Ray detailed that how he would occasionally release captives, abandoning them by the side of a country road after severely drugging them with barbiturates to induce amnesia, which would prevent them from reporting the assaults. He said, I got off on mind games. After we get completely through with you, you're going to be drugged up real heavy with a combination of sodium, pentothal, and I think phenethol, maybe pentothal and phenobarbital. which is probably some kind of drugs. They are both hypnotic drugs. Yep. Yep, they're both hypnotic drugs, and they will make you extremely susceptible to hypnosis, auto-hypnosis, and hypnotic suggestion. And you're gonna be kept drugged a couple of days while I play with your mind. And by the time I get through brainwashing you, you're not gonna remember a fucking thing about the little adventure. Alright, and remember, that's with his words, not mine. I would never do this. Alright, he would kidnap about 4 or 5 women a year, holding... Alright, now this is where we're repeating ourselves a little bit. It said he would kidnap about 4 to 5 women a year, holding each of them captive for around 2 to 3 months. Exactly how many murder victims Ray claimed over the years is uncertain. Investigators believe that he had raped and tortured and killed up to 60 individuals over the course of his life, although they have not been able to locate any of their remains. A diary that Ray kept detailed of what he did to each victim. A diary that Ray kept detailed what he did to each victim, although it did not disclose where he buried the bodies. According to the accomplice, Cindy Hendy, Ray's fatal victims were dismembered and buried and dumped in the Elephant Butt Lake or nearby ravines. And after his arrest, Ray agreed to show authorities where he had buried his victims, but he died before he could do so, and Hendy was unable to assist investigators in recovering any possible bodies. And because remember, he would probably drug her too of the fentanyl and the phenobarbital and stuff and the hypnotic stuff, so they wouldn't remember. The Albuquerque FBI in 2011 released hundreds of images of items that were collected during the investigation of Ray. The FBI believes that some of the items, which included jewelry and clothes, may have been taken from victims. Alright, the FBI, along with its law enforcement partners in New Mexico, is aggressively pursuing several leads in the search for remains of any possible victims of David Parker Ray. Said Frank Fisher of the Albuquerque field office. He said that we are asking family and friends of missing people to look over these photographs and contact us if they recognize any of these items. Alright, now we go to suspected victims. Alright, Billy Ray Bowers, age 53, right, disappeared from Phoenix, Arizona on September 25th, 1988. On September 28th, 1989, so a year and 3 days later, or 4 days, depending on if it was a leap year, the body of an unknown man wrapped in a blue tarp was found by a fisherman at McCrea Cove at Elephant Butt Lake in Elephant Butt, New Mexico. Although no identification was found on him, and it was determined that he had been shot in the back of the head. And the unidentified descendant was ultimately identified as Bowers in May 1999. Alright, wow, so he actually murdered male victims too. Wow. Lost this place. Hold on. I lost the place. Hold on. Okay. Alright. The unidentified descendant was ultimately identified as Bowers in March 1999. Alright. When authorities made dental record comparisons. Now, in 1986, Bowers was a co-owner of Canal Motors, a used car business, and that was on North Van Buren Street in Phoenix, Arizona. And the owners employed Ray, and he worked as a mechanic and was described as very talented, although was also was in conflict with Bowers. While he incarcerated, Hendy stated, while incarcerated, Hendy stated, while incarcerated, Hendy stated that Ray told her that he had killed Bowers and dumped his body in the Elephant Butt River. Alright, now, a 22-year-old named Jill Suzanne Troia, or Triola, or something, Troia. She was last seen at the Frontier restaurant in the 2400 block of East Central in Albuquerque. Alright, New Mexico, during the late evening of September 30th, 1995. Alright, she had gone to a bar with friends earlier, and then went to her girlfriend, Glenda Jean Jessie Ray, and when they left to go to the restaurant. Now remember, who's Glenda Jean Jessie Ray? David Parker Ray's daughter. And they were so close to one another. I think this was the case. They were so close to one another that he thought that they were, that people thought that he was actually dating her or married to her. Alright, witnesses reported Glenda and Troia had an argument. And Glenda later told police that she left Troia at the Frontier restaurant and left with her father, Ray. And that she and David went to the Elephant Butt Reservoir in southern New Mexico. And Troia has never been heard from. And Troia had never been heard from again. And Ray wrote detailed accounts of sexual tortures and burials of victims, including one in which he described an Asian woman who fit Troia's description. Right, now another one. Among the possessions associated with victims was a 2-page letter dated June 1990 to a young woman named Connie from an Australian man named Mark. And according to Ray's journal, Connie was a white woman that he abducted and murdered on December of 1995. And she was only 18 years old, and she had long blonde hair and a birthmark on her chest, and was 160 centimeters tall, which 160, so maybe 6 feet, I think. I don't know, however many 160 centimeters tall in inches is. Then the Australian Federal Police and FBI conducted an investigation hoping to locate Mark so that he would be able to identify Connie and her family and friends. Although they were able to do so, and her remains have not been located or linked to an existing unidentified or missing person case. So she's probably a Jane Doe. So Connie, whatever, is probably a Jane Doe case, because she was in an unidentified missing person case. Right now, Sylvia Marie Parker, not the same. I don't think she had any relation to. Oh, okay. Sylvia Marie Parker, 22, was a homeless woman living on the shores of Elephant Butt Lake who was an acquaintance of Ray's via his daughter, who supplied her with methamphetamines and cocaine. Now, I don't think this Parker was related to David Ray Parker. I think he just had the same last name. Or, wait a minute, I think David Parker Ray, I think Parker was actually his middle name, I think. That says David Parker Ray, not David Ray Parker. Yeah, I think it's David Parker Ray. I think Parker was his middle name. Alright, Parker was also the mother of 2 children, and was living with them in a tent that she had borrowed from David Parker Ray. And the police later discovered that Parker's boyfriend at the time was Dennis Yancey, and one of Ray's playmates, so to speak. Parker disappeared on July 5th, 1997, when she was abducted and subjected to several days of torture before accomplice Yancey strangled her to death under orders of Ray. And Yancey took police to where he disposed of the body with David Parker Ray and Jessie Ray, his daughter. Although the body had been moved, and Dennis suspected, and the police supported the theory that David Parker Ray claimed that came back to move the body in later in the case, and Dennis ever had. And wait, hold on. Yancey suspected, and the police supported the theory that David Parker Ray came back to move the body later in the case, and Yancey ever had a softening of his conscience and confessed. At 10:30 a.m. on June 30th, 1990, Ralph Tudor, a 61-year-old El Paso resident, which is basically actually before and after, 61-year-old El Paso. Yeah, so 61-year-old El Paso resident was fishing in the Elephant Butt Lake, and caught on Tudor's fishing line was an 80-pound gunny sack, which is basically just like a regular sack, and filled with what he thought was an animal flesh, and the sack was split along its seam, and he then suspected that it was a human body parts, and altered the authorities. The sack was determined to contain human flesh, but no organs or bones. This meant that the unidentified victim was mutilated and dismembered before being dumped in the lake. Allegedly, David Parker Ray said, and I quote, "The thing to do is cut them down the belly, scoop out their guts, and fill the chest cavity with cement weights, and then use baling wire to wrap them up." And furthermore, state police found bone fragments in Elephant Butt Lake belonging to a human leg in 2011. The DNA identified the victim as a female, but she was not linked to any reported missing women case. Hold on a second, let me see how much I have left. Okay, not too much, 2 long paragraphs. Arrest and investigation. Right. Cynthia Vigil was abducted from an Albuquerque parking lot by Ray and his girlfriend, Cindy Hendy. And she was taken to Elephant Butt and confined to the trailer and tortured. After 3 days of captivity, Vigil escaped from the trailer on March 22nd, 1999. To escape, she waited until Ray had gone off to work, and then she unlocked her chains. With the keys that Hendy had left on a nearby table. Hendy noticed Vigil's attempt to escape, and a fight ensued. During the struggle, Hendy broke a lamp on the captive's head. Although Vigil unlocked her chains and stabbed Hendy in the neck with an ice pick. Alright, now Vigil fled while wearing only an iron slave collar and padlock chains. Alright, so she was basically naked. And she ran down the road seeking help, which she got from a nearby homeowner who took her in, comforted her, and called the police. And her escape led officials to the trailer and investigated, I think. I mean, I put instigated, but they might be investigated. And investigated the capture of Ray and his accomplices. Now, just imagine I wouldn't even say awkwardness, but just imagine the shock of when the nearby homeowner to see a nude female basically in a dog collar and padlock, basically banging on his front or on her front door. It was a guy or a girl. It was just a nearby homeowner. I mean, yeah, but just imagine the shock of when the guy opened the door, of when the person opened the door and took her, and she's like, please let me in, or something. I mean, I bet that's probably what she said. And she was probably like frantic, because she was basically escaping for her life. Well, she actually was escaping for her life. Now, police detained... Alright, hold on. Her escape led to officials to the trailer and investigated the capture of Ray and his accomplices. And police detained Ray and Hendy. Another victim, Angelica Montano, came forward with a similar story to that of Vigil, as she said that she had been held captive by Ray after Hendy invited her to the house to pick up a cake mix. After being raped and tortured, Montano, she convinced the pair to release her along the highway, and she was picked up by an off-duty law enforcement officer and told him what had happened. But he did not believe her, and left her at a bus stop. Alright, she also later called police about the incident, but there had been no follow-up, and police identified another victim, Kelly Garrett, from a videotape which dated from 1996, and Garrett was found alive in Colorado after police identified her from a tattoo on her ankle. And she testified that she had gotten in a fight with her husband and decided to spend the night playing pool with friends. And Ray's daughter, Jessie, who knew Garrett, took her to the Blue Water Saloon in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, and may have drugged the beer that she was drinking. I mean, just think of the name, Truth or Consequences. I mean, you better say the truth or you get consequences. That's probably what it was. And I bet it was a big, like, Western spot back in, like, the 1900s. I think something actually happened in the Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. I mean, like Western, like a shootout or something. She offered Garrett a ride home, but instead took Garrett to her father's house, David Parker Ray. Garrett said she had endured 2 days of torture before Ray drove her back to her home. And Ray told her husband that he had found the woman incoherent on a beach. Her husband did not believe that she could not remember where she had been, and Garrett said she did not know what to tell police, and so did not contact them. Her husband sued for divorce, and Garrett moved to Colorado. She was later interviewed on cold case files about her ordeal. The Federal Bureau of Investigations sent 100 agents to examine Ray's property and surroundings, but no identifiable human remains were found. And while awaiting trial, Ray spoke to FBI profilers and said that he was fascinated by the kidnapping of Colleen Stan and other sexually motivated kidnappings. And the FBI had spoken to Ray as early as 1989 in connection with his business manufacturing and selling bondage related sexual devices. Now, trials and aftermath. We're almost done. We're in the home stretch. Alright. A judge ruled that the cases for crimes against Cynthia Vigil, so I think Cindy Vigil? Yeah. No, wait, it was Cindy Hendy. So, it was Cynthia Vigil, Angelica Montano, and Kelly Garrett would be severed, meaning that Ray would be tried for each of them separately. And prosecutors said that this damaged their case, as each woman's story would have otherwise have corroborated and bolstered the others' accounts. And the judge also ruled much of the evidence found in the trailer, and this was during the 1999 raid, and it could not be admitted in the Garrett or Montano cases, including Ray's audio tape, in which he gave detailed descriptions of his abducting and torturing habits. And the first trial for the crimes against Kelly Garrett resulted in a mistrial. And after 2 jurors said they found her story unbelievable, Ray's defense was that the sex trailer was part of Ray's fantasy and any sex was consensual. And after a retrial, Ray was convicted on all 12 counts. And a week into his trial for crimes against Vigil, Ray agreed to a plea bargain and was sentenced to in 2001 to 224 years or life in prison for his numerous offenses in the abduction and sexual torture of 3 young women at his Elephant Butte home. And the plea deal was to obtain leniency for his daughter. And prosecutors stated that the surviving victims had approved of the deal, and Ray's daughter, Glenda Jean Jessie Ray, was charged with kidnapping and criminal sexual penetration. She pleaded no contest and received a 30-month sentence with an additional 5 years to be served on probation. In 1999, 27-year-old accomplice Dennis Roy Yancey pleaded guilty to the 1997 murder of 22-year-old Marie Parker in Elephant Butte, and Yancey confessed to helping Jessie Ray lure Parker into captivity into her father's trailer. And Yancey said that Parker was tortured and that Ray forced him to strangle the woman to death. And prosecutors noted that no forensic evidence was ever found to tie Parker to the Rays. And Yancey was also charged with kidnapping, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit a crime, and tampering with evidence. And he was sentenced to 30 years of prison. And the Rays were not charged in Parker's murder. So David Parker Ray and his daughter Glenda Jessie Parker Ray. In 2010, Yancey was paroled after serving only 11 years in prison. Wow. Alright, but the release was delayed by difficulties in negotiating a plan for residence. And 3 months after his release in 2011, Yancey was charged with violating his parole, and he remained to custody, remanded to custody, where he remained until 2021, where he served the rest of his original sentence. In 2000, Cindy Hendy, an accomplice who testified against Ray, received a sentence of 36 years for her role in the crimes, and she was scheduled to receive parole in 2017. But she was released on July 15th, 2019, after serving 2 years of her parole in prison. Alright, now on May 28th, 2002, Ray was taken to the Lea County Correction Facility in Hobbs, New Mexico to be questioned by state police. But remember the 224 years in prison that I told you about, right? He didn't even serve a full 1 year. Wait, did he? No, because he actually passed away. He died of a heart attack before the interrogation could take place. Cynthia Vigil later founded Street Safe New Mexico, a volunteer harm reduction nonprofit, and that works with sex workers and other vulnerable people living on the street with Christine Barber. Alright, now that was it for David Parker Ray, the Toy Box Killer. Now, before I let you guys go, I want to give you guys a hint on who my next killer is. Let's see. Did I do that? I don't think I did that one. Okay. My next one. I think he was 12 or 13. This is in the mid-90s. He was either 12 or 13. He has glasses, or he had glasses, and he has freckles and ginger hair, and he killed a 3 or 4-year-old boy that his mother allowed him to walk to camp by himself, which was, I don't think anyone there should do that, but yeah. And I think he's actually out, and I think he's actually living in New York City somewhere. So, I mean, he's living close by. He's living like a couple hours away. Maybe only like 2 hours away from me. Oof. And if you guys know who I'm talking about, oh wait, hold on. The things that were found at the scene were a Kool-Aid pouch, like a Capri Sun drink, and a 30-pound rock. And obviously blood, which they thought was Kool-Aid, but I think they thought it was Kool-Aid. But there was also a Kool-Aid pouch that was there too. So I found at the crime scene. Now, if you guys know who I'm talking about, if the comment section allows me to do it, write down in the comment section who you think I'm talking about for my next video in the comments below. And I'll catch you guys on my next. Well, hold on. Before I let you go, it's a beautiful day out. It's gonna be, it's high of 78, low of 56, I think. I'm literally wearing shorts and a half-sleeve shirt. I mean, I'm literally wearing this to go to work. I'm wearing half-sleeve shirt and shorts to work. Alright, so, you know, go outside. I mean, after hearing this video, you know, cool down, rewind, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. And without further ado, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on my next video. Peace.